The mingling of human biology and technology has become one of the defining challenges of our age. The impulses animating this convergence are as old as humanity itself, the restless search for transcendence, improvement, and mastery over fate. Yet today, biotechnology, brain-computer interfaces, genetic engineering, and artificial intelligence make possible not merely the healing of the body and mind, but their expansion and transformation in ways that our ancestors could hardly have imagined. The core ethical question is not whether we can merge biology and technology, but on what grounds we ought to do so, and where we might rightly draw the line. Any discussion of boundaries must begin with the recognition of human dignity. Rooted in both secular philosophy and religious tradition, dignity speaks to the inherent worth of every person, independent of utility or productivity. Kant famously argued that individuals must always be treated as ends in themselves, not merely as means. The merging of biology and technology must therefore never reduce people to mere instruments of efficiency or pleasure. Enhancements, implants, or genetic modifications demand scrutiny not only for their safety but for the ways they may undermine or obscure that worth, by making some more valuable in society's eyes than others, or by leading to pressures, subtle or overt, to conform to certain engineered ideals. The specter of a new eugenics, born not from state coercion but from market logic or cultural pressure, looms. It requires active resistance through social norms and, where appropriate, legal limitations. Closely related is the need to preserve personal autonomy and informed consent. Advances in neurotechnology, for example, offer hope for paralyzed individuals and patients with neurological disorders, yet they also introduce risks of manipulation or loss of agency. If technology can alter moods, desires, or thought processes directly, then the boundary between self-authorship and external control is perilously thin. The writings of John Stuart Mill, with his insistence on experiments in living, remind us that autonomy is central not only to liberty but to what makes human life meaningful. Technological interventions should respect the right of individuals to make informed choices, free from coercion, manipulation, or exploitation. Children, the cognitively impaired, and vulnerable populations require special protection, as they may lack the capacity to consent in the fullest sense. There is, too, an obligation to ensure justice and fairness. Technologies that merge with biology, prosthetics, genetic modifications, longevity treatments, hold the danger of deepening existing inequalities. If only the wealthy can afford to enhance their bodies or minds, disparities may grow into literal new species divides. Michael Sandel and other contemporary philosophers have cautioned against a market logic that erodes solidarity and equal respect. Justice demands proactive efforts to make beneficial technologies accessible and to resist the commodification of the most fundamental aspects of ourselves. Societies must confront the uncomfortable truth that technological progress can exacerbate, as well as alleviate, social ills. Ethics also cautions us to respect the ecological and evolutionary context in which humanity is situated. Technological interventions that are irreversible or poorly understood may have ramifications beyond what any designer intended, affecting not only individual lives, but the biosphere itself. The Christian notion of stewardship, echoed in secular environmental ethics, urges humility. Unintended consequences, from ecosystem disruption to the emergence of unforeseen moral dilemmas, call for prudence and the ability to halt or reverse course when evidence compels it. A technological optimism that fails to account for the limits of human foresight is a dangerous hubris. A deeper layer of concern arises when technology seeks to reshape not merely the body but the soul, our memories, values, sense of self. Technologies able to edit memory or augment emotion risk erasing the texture of human experience, the development of character, the endurance of suffering, and the authenticity of joy and sorrow. There are aspects of the human condition that may be precious precisely because they are fragile or ambiguous. Friedrich Nietzsche warned against the last man, content with comfort and pleasure but having lost the will to strive, sacrifice, and create meaning. Technology should serve the flourishing of persons, not the erosion of their capacity for moral growth and search for purpose. Spiritual traditions have long wrestled with the boundary between legitimate healing and hubristic overreach. The story of the Tower of Babel, ancient prohibitions against hubris, and the Buddhist emphasis on acceptance of suffering all speak to the importance of recognizing limits. This is not a counsel of stasis or fear, but of discernment. The promise of technological innovation must be balanced by reverence for the mysteries that constitute our humanity, a mystery not to be solved, but to be preserved and deepened. At the same time, rigid prohibitions can be as dehumanizing as reckless expansion. Refusing all technological aid to prevent suffering or restore lost function would be cruel and dogmatic. The ethical path lies in a constant negotiation between aspiration and acceptance, between mastery and humility. Public deliberation, inclusive of diverse voices, religious and secular, scientific and philosophical, is essential, as these decisions shape not only individual lives but the legacy of humanity itself. In the end, the merging of biology and technology is neither a path to utopia nor a slide into dystopia, but a profound test of our collective wisdom. Ethical boundaries must be drawn not to extinguish the flame of possibility, but to ensure it illuminates rather than consumes. Confronted with choices unprecedented in history, humanity's task is to draw on wells of compassion, humility, and reason, resisting both the seduction of unlimited power and the comfort of unthinking tradition. Only in this tension does the true dignity of the human emerge.